Hello, today is Friday, October the 18th, and my video count on this channel is up above 70. And you know, sometimes I'm too smart for the room, too cool for the room, too smart for myself. And I made this autumn soup, and I've actually created my first recipe. So today I went down to county office, say hey, what did the cow say when the bull came along? Hey, move along. Okay, maybe I'll put that in one of my improvs. So, I made this awesome soup, and I've been using it for about 5 days. At some point, you have to do the next step, which is condense it and freeze some. Okay, so at the low-cost grocery, I got a whole lot of potatoes. All right, at the right price. And the right price is an economic concept. We all have our own cost-benefit analysis. Cost. I have to enunciate my words, which brings out my accent. That I'm getting a lot of comments on. Yeah. I'm happy at the comments that I'm getting. One lady said to me about 2 or 3 weeks ago something that confused the heck out of me. Are you speaking German? And I interpret that to mean, do you speak the Deutsch? And the Deutsch is the language of this great valley, the rich valley. Little bitty things that bother me, but I'll burn myself if I'm not a smart Irish cat here. So, the other day I'm shooting pool at the senior center by myself, which I like to do. I also like to shoot pool with the guys who are very skilled. I mean, I'm shooting pool 53 years at least, and I'm just average. Almost everything I do, I'm average. I'm near the norm. And but the guys I'm shooting with are shooting pool 64, 65 years. And I am learning how to shoot some pool, and there's still the ego in it. You know, there's the casual guy shows you how. There's the vocal guy. This one guy used to run trains for the Louisville and Northern, and he worked, you know, pumping boxcars means pushing them down. You bring them up to the hump, cut them loose, and they roll down to the track if you've got the right crossing open. That you have to be kind of a railroad buff. Then eventually he became the yard master, which means the guy who watches the trains, stuff like that. So, you know, I'm 62, and I find myself learning more now than I have in many years. Last night I learned, cut the crust off the rye bread. This is some locally baked country rye bread that I get at the low-cost grocery, which is also known as grocery outlets. I've only had just a touch of beer, so I shouldn't be doing that slurry, but I do. And living socially secure, my channel here, okay, is about stored values. Okay, what did I learn? I learned last night that I had an upset stomach. I wasn't really thrilled. Okay, so autumn soup is when you take all the ingredients and put them together. Well, I was down in the county office talking to this nice gentleman. He's a security guard there, because in the county office you need to have some law enforcement. And he and I and one of the other customers, we started talking about making soup this time of year. Because up in the north, here, north of Mason-Dixon line, about 45 miles, maybe, see, I want to save this stuff. This is good. The temperature can change. Normally it changes about 18 degrees from dawn till 4:30 in the afternoon. But now Dawn is a little after 6:50 in the morning, and dusk is coming in at about 5:45. So there's almost 12 hours where it can get really cold here. And I live near a mountain pass called Sterrett's Gap. And that means that the wind from the north side of the mountains blows straight down on my tin cabin. So you make this soup that has a lot of calories, tastes good, allows you to clean stuff out of the refrigerator. So you get, living social secure is about not giving Ahold any more money than you have to. I always say Ahold because I think they're the best food company. It's Royal Ahold out of the Netherlands. Here it's called Giant Martin. That's all Ahold. So their food is quality, okay? They have global distribution systems because they are a Netherlands company. And I either use that facility or grocery outlets. So I realized last night that having made 100,000 pounds of rye bread in my life, yes, it's true. I've done everything except been chef, doctor, or lawyer. Okay, I realized that last night what was bothering my stomach was the crust. And if you ever were in a bread factory and saw what the crust is, it's basically egg wash and some thick batter, okay? And that's to encapsulate the bread. So when the fungible agents start to rise up, it captures that, and the fumaric acid creates the gaps, the holes in the rye bread. So it's awesome rye bread, awesome crust, but the crusts aren't going to be part of tonight's meal. Anybody who cooks knows what they call egg white, brushing around the edge. For snack today I had kosher matzahs, egg matzahs, okay? Recently I've been eating potato chips. And the unleavened matzahs are better for you in the long run. Now what I did is I started this pot up a little, the autumn soup. And I always check to see if this is still running. Nothing like rambling on about cooking and then looking and saying, oh, I didn't turn it on. So then what I did is, by heating this up, and I only turned it off a couple moments ago, I'm changing the viscosity of the soup. That's a little warm yet. Silly goose. Now I'm going to come back to this, okay? I want to add to it this bag of flavorful mix, which I used on some chickens. This is matzahs, Louisiana Crystal hot sauce, Frank's hot sauce, and onions. So the orange stuff that you see on the bag is spice. I'll put this into this autumn soup. But I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add chicken fat. Had my genetics done about 20, 25 years ago, and it was determined I'm 38% Hebraic. A little over a third. So, now the issue here is how do you be sanitary? How do you handle these other things after you handle chicken fat? Because the liquid in the chicken fat bag is called salmonella juice in the restaurant business. So I'm going to prepare the hot water. I've got my soap right here. Shake it up. It's bubbleated. Bubbleated means handled by a boob. Okay. I need some more just a touch of asthma. I'm going to open the door. I mean, if you live in the windy mountains of Pennsylvania, you might as well get some fresh air. Don't know why the asthma happened. But this is flat out fat-soaked chicken, okay, that I'm going to add into here. It was better than that in making sandwiches. Here's chicken fat. Now that means I have to chop this finely. Finely is like bigly or muchly. It's recently been added to the lexicon. So, I don't want to use porous for chopping the chicken. Also, in keeping with kosher sanitation, sequence of how you wash is basically it. It is wash. The moment you just throw down the wash. And that's how we speak out here. But getting back to the Dutch thing, Lady says to me, "Are you speaking German?" And I thought she was like busting my chops. I'm like, "No, I'm speaking plain English. New Jersey is but plain English." And actually what she was doing was being kind to me. Apparently, with the amount of caffeine that I have, I get this clipped speech. And I'm very forthright. I bounce around a lot. I have to advise people, you know, hey, I have called ODD, that's old deficit disorder. I got a lot on my mind. Please don't interrupt me mid-sentence. I won't interrupt you mid-sentence. So in making this living social secure, I'm taking these very low-cost potatoes from grocery outlet, okay? And I mean, there are some things in these potatoes, I'm like, I never saw a potato that had that. Because when you get Society's potatoes, they're all looking alike, man. And we pay people to sit in a factory and grade those potatoes. I think I'm going to do this one serious. Because I'm going to be handling other food after this, I think the professional thing to do is put on gloves, okay? The difference between handling chicken fat and just regular chicken, which you're rinsing constantly, so I have to hold this. And I have to use my knife to make it into small bits. And what I'm doing is, I'm going to introduce it to my autumn soup. And the reason I'm doing it in this manner, peculiar manner, is this. There's a lot of stored value in here, a lot of calories, okay? Now, since the only thing that went in this bag was chicken skin, I'm throwing this bag away. No amount of cleansing would make that bag worth using again, okay? And chicken fat moves when you go to cut it. It means I need a fork. The background is the Mormon Tabernacle Choir doing Hallelujah. Stored value is I learned to read music 50 plus years ago. I studied Latin 50 plus years ago. And all this is stored up in my brain and it's starting to come back. I learned to speak Spanish 46 years ago. And now I have to use all of these things to prevent Alzheimer's. Okay? So, you know, I've planned this through from the kosher aspect of what I'm going to handle and how I'm going to wash it. So after the lady says to me, "Are you speaking German?" I thought, what do you mean? I'm speaking English, lady. It's New Jersey. I said, no, she was saying in German, "Do you speak?" The "do you" and the "are you" were the same phrase. I reconstructed it. And then the other day, I'm shooting pool at the senior center, talking to this guy who grew up on a farm here, and he's got German background, Deutsch background, as we say. See, we say Deutsch because we want you to know it's not the Dutch. Yeah, some of the Moravians high out in Holland, like the Pilgrims did. Okay? But after the First World War, out here in Pennsylvania, in order to be patriotic, the Deutsch went from Pennsylvania Deutsch to Pennsylvania Dutch. And about 4 weeks ago, I was chatting with a lady. Excuse me. I was chatting with this lady at the senior center, and we were talking about, our ethnic heritage. And she goes, well, I forget what the first half is. She said, and the other half is Deutsch. And I was like, you made my day. You tell me you're Deutsch, I love to hear that. And this lady can shoot some pool, traveled the United States, military wife, that's all I can say. Okay? Healthy girl, 80 or so. Sexiest 80-year-old I've ever seen. Because she's worked all her life on her feet, feeding people. So, I'm getting into this culture of the Deutscher here, and my grandfather was Schaefer, S-H-A-F-F-E-R, and he's buried in the Moravian cemetery. So you know that we had Moravian roots. My other grandfather was Malone, buried in the Irish and Italian Catholic cemetery at St. Peter's along with the rest of my family, with my Jimbo. So, sometimes, one side of the family you're not really in touch with, and I've never really been in touch with the Schaefers that much. Really, you don't have a lot of contact with the Malones, the Irish Catholics. And we had another family whose name, for liabilities, I'm going to leave off of this. So to go back to the shooting the pool, I'm shooting pool by myself at the senior center, which I do sometimes. Some of the older guys go home for their nap. Or a little afternoon delight, I guess. I don't know. Got your wife for 50 years, you get some afternoon delight once in a while. No matter how old you are. Okay, so now I'm done cutting this. Okay. So I'm shooting pool, and this fella starts talking, and he's a chatterbox, because all these guys, they're hanging out there for socialization, and he's telling me where the farm was, and the moment I hear they grew up on a farm, I start to do my Appalachian inquiry, which is I want to know everything about you and your farm, sir, because I'm an Appalachian-focused historian, so I'm gathering all these stories, which I do content neutral, I don't use names, but what life was like, and he's talking about the cows and bringing the cows. His dad brought the cows in, he didn't. Because the guy I'm talking to is in his 80s. So when he was 10 or 12, 70 years ago, that's before rural electrification and the rural free delivery for mail by Mr. Roosevelt, God bless Roosevelt. And he starts talking about the Deutsch. So he might have been English, not actually Deutsch, but we talked about the Deutsch area. And what you do is, you build a spring house. You got a piece of land and it comes down off the mountain, wherever there's creeks running down, a run we call it, okay? You build a little house that captures the water and runs it through the center of the stones so that there's running cold water. And that's how you keep your milk and your cheese and everything, and your meat. So you have a couple different spring houses maybe, and he was talking about how when the electrification came through, the government sent inspectors to check on the temperature of the milk and stuff, and he said that, the guy would come to his house and check the temperature of the milk, and he said, oh man, I can see you keep this refrigerated, but he didn't. He used a spring house. Now, I used to vacation at a farm in Highland County, Virginia for 10 years, at least. And they had two spring houses, one out on a hill, I have a photo of that, and the other spring house was attached to the house. And as years went by and they got refrigeration and electricity, they dammed that up and diverted the water. But still the back of the house had this cool room, which is where you put all your canned goods. Your mason jar goods. Canned goods can go on any shelf. So I'm talking to a guy who milked the cows in 1928 or so, 1930. And back then, the Pennsylvania Turnpike was still being built. Most of the roads around here were gravel, if they had anything. Usually they were farmers' roads. Farmers' roads were in checkerboard because they go around the edge of someone's field. The government did not yet cut through people's fields. Okay? Now, as I talk here, this is about living socially secure. And the more you know about your neighbors and that life before you got here, the more you're socially secure, because now you can talk to just about anybody. So this guy used to be like, did I speak to German? Twice, in less than 2 months, somebody asked me, did I speak to German? And I actually say, no, it's got to do with how much coffee and how much sleep I've had. So just say coffee. The other day down at the Knights of Columbus donut session, talking to two nice ladies. Knights of Columbus guy comes over, he's trying to get rid of the coffee dinner, and he said, Ed, do you want any coffee? And he's busting out laughing because he's making fun of my coffee accent. Worsh is Philadelphia. Coffee is North Jersey. So the life is such that you use the ingredients. Very low cost potatoes, chicken fat, and when I cooked this chicken, okay, about 8-9 days ago, so I got to use this up. I already have a lot in here. I took chicken skin and put it on top of 2 chicken breasts, but there was still this big piece. I'm like, there's too much calories in that, okay? Again, I was kosher with this. I used gloves to handle it. I'm turning the temperature of the soup up. Now, okay, I'm going to put in the chicken fat around the edge. I mean, in the South they like the fried chicken, but they have horrible obesity rates there, and as an obese person myself, I have to fight. Man, nobody does fried chicken like my mother. That could be a bumper sticker. I mean, when I was a kid, Harlan Sanders was still alive. I have to be big bone. Now, putting this chicken chunks, chicken fat, chicken skin, not chicken fat, chicken skin, in different spots in this boiling water. I say those things over again so I can look at this video and say, okay, there's your slight Alzheimer's condition popping up, because I know that I only had 4 ounces of beer. What is measurable is repeatable. What is repeatable is rewardable. Now, I prepped this sink, okay, with the hot water. So I know that my any salmonella on there is going to go straight down. When I'm reheating the water, come over here for safety. I stir this in. Again, in the background, I've got music going that I pulled from the internet as part of a church choir assignment. So that's on a device that I own and I'm not paying any internet fees for. These are chunks of chicken that I'll hold at a 45% bargain 10 days ago, because I found out if you go there at 8:30 at night, that's when they lower the price of goods that are been selling for 2 days. Okay, so you have to learn, like the seniors in Florida did years ago. Here's a discount. Now I've added the chicken chunks, chicken skin, the boiling water, I'm lowering that. Now I'm going to go for some spices. I can even smell the spice. Sometimes I'll put hot water in here to get what's on the bag, but it's not worth it. That's picayune today. Today's word. I don't put it in there because I'm not done washing that dish yet. Now, stir in the dried matzahs, egg matzahs, okay, with the hot sauce. bring more flavor to it. I can smell the flavor. I have to allow this. In the factory I worked in as a union food producer had kettles, big vats that Eason from Southside Patterson, he ran the kettles. We'd introduce all the ingredients, and he knew how to blend. He knew how to make the bases for the jellies and the breads and the jams. Did a great job. Union food producer did recipes. Nobody, you couldn't cheat. Your recipe was checked 3 times a batch, so 9 times a day. Your product was pulled out. If this was flour, you go in the kitchen and they'd bake it. And it needed to proof up and it tastes well. But now, here's tonight's ingredient, okay? And I'm not going to overwhelm this soup. Okay, I have to allow the potatoes. I'm trying to make this from soup into stew. That's that level where you've got so many ingredients, you're going to run out of viscous, you're going to run out of liquid and just have ingredients. There's Brussels sprouts in here. There's chicken. And again, I need to use this pot for, I leave the skins on because that's part of the fibers. I want to use this pot to start to cook some pasta. So after tonight, I chill this down. I'm going to be putting some of it in the freezer. So about 80% of this pot will go in the freezer. Now, let that sit. Bring it up a little in temperature. Something else I'm working on today is making some fruit juice. I got a fruit tray from Grocery Outlet, the low cost grocery. Okay, and in order to save some of the fruit, I froze it. And what I learned was, when I thaw it, the juices come out. So I'm going to have a fruit cocktail melange. I'll make sure I don't have any holes poking out because I do that for my beer saving. See, I don't like to save beer. I don't want to finish a whole can if I don't want it. So I pour it in these. These used to be Gatorade bottles. And I poke a couple holes in there so it can vent. So that's going to be probably your hors d'oeuvres. Now, I've got the crusts. There's a tremendous amount of inherent value in these crusts. This is stored energy, okay? Whether you chop these and add these into breakfast potatoes, I'm not sure, but I don't throw a crust away. That's French crust, Italian crust you do because it gets hard. But these crusts here, the rye crusts, are made with a lot of acids. That was one of the things I did. My specialty was multi-grain breads and rye breads. I made dark pump to the tune of 400,000 pounds of dark pumpernickel bread in my life. Yeah, big number. Okay, now I started off eating these crackers. This is bubbling nice. I started off eating these crackers for a snack. I was having my beer and reading the Brave New World, which is fascinating. I never read it before. By Aldous Huxley. And I want to save this because it's going to keep me from eating potato chips. You get the gooiness without the extra salt, without the oil.